Successful people are generally infinitely curious. And so they usually have like more interest than just the work that they do. I worked for Prologue for a number of years, and I worked for Kyle Cooper and his wife. He's enormously curious. He's very well educated. He has a degree from the University of Massachusetts as an undergraduate, and then he went to the Yale School of Design and studied under Paul Rand. And so he's pretty well educated, but he has an enormous, not only does he have enormous pride in his work, which is another one of those traits, he's also enormously curious. And at that time, when I was working for them, he was doing the title work in the work for Benjamin Button, which is a movie based on someone who ages in reverse. And if you went into his office at that time, he probably had 20 or 30 books on the aging process, and because this is a real thing evidently. And he had sketches all over the walls that he had his staff do, and pictures. I mean, he did enormous research for that project, and he did enormous research for all of his projects. And so that attention to detail and that background, he doesn't start off with, my joke in this business is young people, especially guys, they just want to make stuff blow up. So they're interested in the latest plug-in that makes stuff blow up. You know, someone like Kyle Cooper, it may be like when he did the Iron Man titles, that stuff in fact blows up, but I guarantee you, there's been hours and days of thought as to what should blow up, if anything should blow up, and where and how it should blow up. That's one of the traits of successful people. And the other thing is the ability to learn, and to learn from people. Like Chris Do is a good example of that. He's one of the few people I've ever worked for who genuinely has no ego when it comes to his own accomplishments. And that's another trait that people have. They're willing to learn from people smarter than them. They don't think they're the smartest people in the world. And even though he's won an Emmy and people have worked here, he doesn't think he's smarter than anybody in the building. He's willing to listen and he's willing to learn. You have to have that. And you have to work hard. I mean, I think if I have one complaint about my successful clients is they work too hard. They spend too many hours working and not enough time in the other parts of their life. But again, that's a choice they make. Most of them really love what they do. And that's the other thing. You shouldn't just be doing it for money or doing it because you think you should be doing it because you love it. That's another trait that they have. I'll give you an example. I have a client named David Van Slyke, who's won Emmys and he won Oscars. He does sound design. He does the CSI. He did all the sound design for that. So I remember David and I used to eat lunch together for our meeting. And all of a sudden we'd be talking and he'd stop and he'd go, "Did you hear that?" And I go, "Hear what?" He'd heard some extraneous sound either from the street or the kitchen or the restaurant. He goes, "I can use that sound. I've never heard that sound before." So he was, imagine, I didn't even really know what sound design was. I thought it was just like making feet thump on a drum when someone was walking across the room when I started working for him. But, he was genuinely interested and fascinated by sounds. He had gone to the Berklee School of Music in Boston. This is a pretty well-known school. And he was an accomplished musician in his own right. So that's what I'm saying. Find what you love about this business. There's lots of parts of this business. And I've been fortunate to work for some people that are really good at it. And those are the things they have. They love it. It's kind of like the Wizard of Oz. You kind of know your purpose already, but you've got so much information that says that's not okay. You just have to have continual meetings with yourself and ask yourself what it is you really want to accomplish. I think everybody's here for a reason and to do something. Everybody's sent for something. Regardless of your spiritual beliefs, I happen to have my own set. And the closer you can get to that, I think you know what you like. I think we all know that, but we've got so much stuff around, like what we should be doing, what we shouldn't be doing, and how we should be doing it, and all this and that we get confused. But I think in our heart of hearts, we know what we need to be doing. And like in the case of the future, let's talk about that because I think you're all kind of in that, the people that are watching this. It took, I would say conservatively, 3 years, conservatively, for Chris to find how to do the teaching he wanted to do. He tried, I won't bore you with all the failures that we had. He tried many different ways of doing it until he hit upon this way of doing it. Fortunately for him, he had another going business and he was successful. But remember, I know he's more than 40 now. I don't know exactly. I don't remember exactly. It takes a while to figure this stuff out. If you're 22, you're not probably going to figure that out right now. I'm just telling you what I've seen. But keep thinking about what you like and then transition from that, whatever you're doing now. There's always a way to do it if you give it some thought.